Hello everyone, welcome to the Relationship Scandal channel. Please support the channel's growth by subscribing. Let's get into the story. Men never get a fair shake when it comes to infidelity in relationships or marriages. Guys are always, almost every time, made out to be the bad guys. You can pour your heart, emotions, money, and every bit of your soul into a relationship and still end up with the worst kind of woman. I found the courage to write out my raw emotions yesterday after I found out my wife was cheating. I read it again today and applauded myself for not going into a full-blown outrage inconsistent story. I tried to remain coherent and explained as best as I could. It's a modern-day dairy style of writing, I think. This is an update story for last night's event. If you haven't read the first part, please do, so that this update can make sense. I might reveal the name of my cheating wife, her social media handle, and blast her dirty secrets later in this update story. It's all based on how I'm still feeling, and right now, my emotions can be summed up into one word: hurt. I woke up and was still thinking about last night's events. I found my wife locking lips with another man and dancing with him during Super Bowl halftime party. I wasn't even away from the scene for too long. It was a party hosted in my house. Where else could I have been? Today's like a journal entry day because I'm still clouded and not even sure what I want to do next. The best defense my wife could muster for herself was that she got drunk during the game, and the dance started out as an innocent, fun, playful thing that got out of control. After I threatened the guy with violence was when the truth eventually came out. I married a cheap kitty meant for the streets. This is not the kind of problem I would have thought I would face barely a year into my marriage. The audacity for my wife's affair partner to come into my house is still boggling my mind. Honestly, this is how people get killed, literally. I guess alcohol brought out the truth after all when they thought no one was looking and could get a feel off each other. Under my stairs, on my rug, in my matrimonial home. There is no excuse for this. I have called her parents and told them what happened. I heard the hurt in their voice that I was going through this ordeal. They were sleeping around the time I called them this morning around 4 a.m. I thought my head would be clear when I woke up this morning after barely 2 hours of sleep, but no, I was still boiling. With my temper running so high last night and my friends holding me back to not catch a murder case, I forgot to gather the evidence from my wife's cheating partner's phone. The one I demanded he show me before I break a bottle on his head. I couldn't record the make-out scene I witnessed because I went out and rage smashing his head on the head after I shoved him. Now I'm afraid it might have to be their word against mine, but luckily, I had witnesses that were there if that would count in court. Her parents told me they would like to reach out to my wife and get her side of the story. What side of what stupid story? What more evidence do they want? Anyway, they will be calling me back, so I'll wait for their feedback. Either way, I want a divorce. In all honesty, this is my first marriage, and I don't want to break it up in less than a year. I am still paying for the extravagant wedding we had. The wedding wasn't cheap, and our guest count was quite a number. How do I face my family and friends and tell them I failed in less than a year? I made my groomsmen purchase a $400 price tag suit just to look the best for my occasion, and they supported me. They had jokingly told me that if my marriage failed, they will be asking for their expense and gift return. What seemed like a joke back then, is turning out to be a reality. Did I jinx my own marriage? I was just thinking if there was a way I can salvage this marriage, maybe get some therapy sessions, listen to her apology story, but I have lost trust. Our Cinderella love story, connected by football passion, has been soiled and completely ruined. I can't look at her the same way again. I called my boss and told him wasn't feeling good and couldn't make it to work today. He laughed and said everybody wasn't feeling good because we all had too much fun at the Super Bowl party. I wish I had fun at my Super Bowl party. It started out fun at least and ended with police almost being called. I'm surprised my friend from work that I invited hasn't shared the story at my workplace, but I'm guessing he's providing my privacy. I blew my story on the internet. There's not much privacy to protect. Maybe it gets worse once I reveal names, but I still want to watch how this would unfold. This write-up is pretty much a window into my mind explaining how I'm feeling. I think about how many other cheating partners does my wife have. I want to know the details of how she hooked up with this guy from work. Was she a cheap thrash being passed around at the office? Was her kitty a public property that has gone from pants to pants, being ran through like a choo-choo train? I can't get these types of details from my head. The lady I call a queen was just another piece of collection for another man, if the price is right. I had often thought why she doesn't talk much about her coworkers. They all work together, some days in the office, some days from home, running small accounts for their oil and gas firm. Should I never trust a salesgirl again? She often travels for work also and tell me she was visiting clients. She has a high credit limit for spending and would often tell me she spends on the clients to entice them and win their contracts with her company. Now I want to know the extent of her so-called enticement. Every picture in my mind is not telling me a good story. When she calls me sometimes and tells me she had been drinking with a client, now I feel like the clients were passing the night in her hotels. Hiding in a corner, lurking around to not be seen when I demand my wife get on FaceTime. No wonder she gets back-to-back promotion very quickly, climbing up the corporate ladder, because she wins so many contracts. From sales rep to territory manager, and now account executive. All these wins have been celebrated as we would go on lavish vacations to celebrate her accomplishments. I was her biggest cheerleader. I thought my wife was doing great and she was my trophy to be proud of. Now it seems all these victories came at the expense of my wife getting her back blown out on the regular. This might all be delusions in my head, but what was I supposed to think? What wasn't a delusion is the fact that I saw my wife getting my back rubbed on by a male colleague in my home. What wasn't a delusion were the text messages I saw on her affair partner phone. It definitely wasn't a delusion when she admitted to the affair and started apologizing and begging for forgiveness before I stormed out of the house. Anyway, I have been searching the internet for a good divorce lawyer. I think a good starting point is to file the divorce papers first and then decide if this mess of a marriage is still worth saving. I called up my friend who has a scheduled day off to share morning coffee with me. I honestly don't know what to do really. I'm in a confused state. I can't stay in this hotel room forever, so I will be going to my house to pick up a few of my clothes. I badly want her to not be at home when I get there. I might even send someone to help me pick them up if I see her car around. It's for the best, I think. I have called up my siblings as well and they were appalled. They couldn't believe me at first, but how can I make up a story this brutal that has destroyed my family? How can I ever trust another woman again after this situation? Why must I always be the one being cheated on? This is depressing, and as much as I try to fight back the tears, a few times through the night, I just let it out. I'm broken, but I'm sure I will rise again. I'm an alpha. I will pause updates on this story till the next few days. I am sure I will dig out more skeletons in her closet. I would also finally summon the courage to confront my wife without my emotions flaring up. Thanks for reading this story. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and follow up for relationship scandals updates.